let's look at how to service a pool using the Android app. So first thing we do is find the app on the phone, and here it is. So go ahead and click it to start the app. Now, the first time you use the app, you'll be in test mode using test data. To use your own data, you must input your mobile ID that's been assigned to you by your admin. So go ahead and click Setup, and it'll bring up this screen, the setup screen. You click on Enter Mobile ID, and it will bring up this box. You go ahead and click inside the input box, and because I'm using an emulator, I have to tell it to use the keyboard on the phone. You won't have to do this, but now the keyboard comes up. Now you simply type in your mobile ID, and then you'll click Save. So now I've typed it, check it over, and I click Save. And there, I got my success message that it's saved. So I click OK. And it brings me back here. Now I have to get my route, get my chems, parts, and notes. So let's go ahead and do that. Click on Get Route, and it'll contact the server and pull down my pools. So I click OK. And then I get my chems. So it contacts the server. I get my chems. Then I'm going to get my parts. And last, I'll get my notes. And there. So now I've got my notes. I've got all four. So now I can click Finish. And now I can start servicing my route. To do that, I simply click Service My Route, and it will bring up my route sheet. Now here are the two pools. You'll notice that there are two asterisks here. That's just to indicate which is the first pool, the current pool that I'm working on. I could start working on this one here, and then the two asterisks would be down here. I'm just going to start here because it's top of the list. So click on the first address, and it brings up the customer information. So here is the customer address and their gate access information, and it has the customer's name, phone number, and the type of service you'll be doing today. There's a little bit of pool information here, and then the readings I took the last 2 times I visited the pool. So now the first thing we have to do is click the Start button. If you don't click the Start button, none of these buttons are going to work. So you must click the Start button to begin. So then the next thing we're going to do is record chems and take my readings. So go ahead and click Log Chems, and it will bring up the chems page. And the chems page has, again, the reading that we took the last time we visited the pool, and then all the chemical tests that you can do. So let's do free chlorine first. So let's go ahead and click free chlorine, and it brings up this page which then asks me for the reading that I'm taking for free chlorine. So let's go ahead and click on a reading, and then click the Submit button to record that reading. So now I've recorded the reading, and now it's asking me, do I want to add a chem to the pool? So let's go ahead and add 3-inch chlorine tablets. But let's just start by making a mistake. I'm going to click on the second entry by mistake. So I click on that entry. You'll notice it puts the name of the chemical at the top of the screen. So to correct it, all I have to do is click on the correct entry. So I can click on entry. The other thing to note is that if there are more chemicals here, I can scroll. Okay? So you can scroll up or you can scroll down whenever there's a list of elements. Okay, now I'm going to put in the quantity. So I simply click inside the quantity box, and again, it'll bring up the keyboard. In this case, I'm using an emulator, so I have to tell it to bring up the keyboard. In this case, it's going to be the numeric keys, and I want to tell it that I'm using 4 tablets. So there's my 4. So I'm done with this keyboard, so I can click the Done key to hide the keyboard. Now, for this instance, you'll notice that tablets is already up there. But what if I wanted a different unit of measurement? I simply click this button to the right, and it will choose a different unit. For example, pounds or gallons or quartz and so on. And if you keep pressing that button, you just tap it until it gets back around as tablets, which is what I want to do. So if you make a mistake, you just keep tapping it until the right unit shows up. And the last thing is, if the customer had given me this chem to use, I don't want them to be charged for that chem since it's their own chem. I would simply click in this box, but since it's coming from my inventory, I'm going to click finish. And now it will record this chem inside the system. You'll also notice that the button has changed color to tell you that you've already recorded that. Okay, do the same for all the other chemical tests, and then when you're done, you're going to click the finish button, and it's going to take you back to the customer screen. You'll notice again the button has changed color to tell you that you've completed that particular operation. Now the next thing we're going to do is log tasks. So I click log tasks, and then as I do each task involved in cleaning the pool, I'm simply going to click inside the checkbox and check them off. Just go down the list, check them off, and then when you're done, you click the finish button to indicate that you're done with that. And it brings up the filter pressure screen. If you've recorded a filter pressure, just go ahead and click on the appropriate value. Now again, because there's a list of items here, I can scroll down either direction, just scroll. So when you find the value that you've recorded, go ahead and click on it and then click finish, and it will save that value. Now everything else on the screen here are options, and we'll discuss these options later. I just don't want to do them all right now because this video would be too long. But let's just say I wanted to take a photo. You would click the more option. The more option takes you to a menu that has photos. I can't demonstrate the photos because I'm using an emulator, but you click the photos button, tap the take picture button, and then hit the back button on the phone to get back to this menu. When you're done, click the finish button and it'll take you back to the customer screen. Last thing I'm going to do here is log a part. So click log parts, and it opens up a screen. Again, because there are multiple items on here, you can scroll by dragging the screen up. When you find the item that you want, you simply click on it and it will highlight up at the top. You can do the same thing again. If you made a mistake, just simply click on the item that's the correct one. Then to record the quantity, click in the box, the input box, and the keyboard comes up. You choose the number, just click on it, and when you're done with the keyboard, you can click the done key. And then again, if it's a customer owned piece of equipment, you can click in the checkbox so that the customer doesn't accidentally get charged for that part. If it's not, if it's from your inventory, click the finish button to record the part. So click the finish button and it takes you back to this screen. So now I'm done entering all the data for this particular pool. I can click the finish button and it asks me, are you done with this pool? Yes, I'm done with this pool, so I'm going to click yes. And now it takes me back to this route sheet screen. You'll notice that the pool that I've just serviced is now off the list. So it will keep doing that until there are no more pools to service, and it'll tell you that you're done. Okay, so let's assume that we've serviced all the pools. So I'm going to click the finish button, and you'll notice now that the button that says send data to office is a different color. It also has a number here that represents the number of pools I have serviced. So let's go ahead and send this data to the office. So just click on the button, send data to office, and it will begin sending the information to the office. After a couple of seconds, you can click the check if done button to see if it's completed the transfer. So there, now I've got my success message. So all the data has been sent to the server. So I click OK, and now I'm back. You'll also notice that the data is no longer showing here. The color is white and there's no number after it. And that's how you service a pool using the Android app.